And so, well, if you just got finished with some 3rd edition character creation, we can delve into some 5th edition as we're going to generate another random character here. So let's pop over to it here. Oh yeah, some of the older sets have really good figures. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the old ones. Well, I don't have a lot of the old ones on me right here. And opening them up for sale would require some side discussion. So I'll let you know if those old figures ever do pop into the marketplace. A Dwarf Samurai? Oh, thank you, Forgotten. Specifically a dwarf with, like, samurai armor? No. But I do have dwarves with various weapons on them. Alright, let's pop over to Player's Handbook. Chapter 4, because that's where we begin with our personality and background when we get to it. And here's our random roll guide. Actually. Oh, I'm just going to call this as a placeholder Sarge. Okay, here we go. So we have a new character sheet open, and let's get into character number 5. Technically, we are not. I prompted you, so you can sneak your players' handbooks out and open them beforehand. But we're not technically referencing Chapter 4 just yet, Daily. So if you want to be a goody two-shoes and suck up to the teacher, you can tell everyone else in class, like, hey, get your book open. And everyone's going to be like, whatever, nerd. See, there you go. Boy howdy yeehaw is opening the textbook anyway. Alright, let's get some random rolls cataloged. Let's discover if we have a female, male, or a multi-class character, and then we'd roll again for female or male. That is on a percentile. 38. We have a female character who is a dwarf. Specifically on an odd, a mountain dwarf. Her alignment is going to be determined with 2 percentiles, one for each axis. 5293, we have another chaotic neutral character. Alright, now, the level at which we're going to develop this character will be based on a percentile. We rolled 98, so we have another level 20 character we're going to be genning up. Interesting. Epic level stuff. That means we have 5 ability score in improvements, ASIs, or AKA stat bumps. Let's roll to see if any of those are going to be replaced by taking a feat, or if we're just going to take the stat bump. Yes, actually, boy howdy yeehaw. The dwarf that you see in that tavern scene is actually a female dwarf that one of my players in my Thursday game piloted in Curse of Strahd. Ostomer, welcome. Thank you very much for that host. With an 80, we're going to replace... we're going to have 1 feat. Hey, Nadpoo, so I just got on for the night, felt a tingling sensation, checked the channel that I follow. Turns out I had just been picked as a winner in a raffle for a D&D module. Nice. Which one, Nadpoo? That's why we have one on our break screen, boy. Howdy, yeehaw. All right, now let's determine her background with a 13-sided die. We rolled a 7. That is a hermit. And there are several different kinds of hermits. In particular, the PHB offers 8. So let's roll a d8 and discover number 6. I can't tell you offhand what that is, but we'll come back to it because it's a placeholder. Now, while we're talking about backgrounds and personalities, let's roll 2d8. And our personality traits are 5 and 7. And then we're going to roll 3d6 for our ideal bond and flaw. 1, 1, and 2. Very good. Again, placeholders, random number generation. We'll build the character out bit by bit and connect everything as we're telling her story. Hey, Technotron, welcome. Things are going very well. We've created character number 4 of 5. Now we're on 5 of 5, and in between the two, we had some really solid boxes being cracked open. We had a copper dragon, a silver dragon, a shield guardian, all kinds of good stuff. Actually, we had a double dragon box that had a bronze dragon and a green dragon in it at the same time. Technotron, I hope your stream last night went well. It was a lot of fun, and as always, you had some really cool ideas. I love the Legos. I loved them. Oh, okay, so you got a Dragon Heist? Very good. So Dragon Heist will take you from level 1 to 5, Nadpoo, and it's an urban encounter. It's more a matter of room, XCat. The way that they're packed, it's you could really only fit 2 in a box. Well, I'm glad you asked, Happy Donuts. Whoops. That's the official stuff for you. And if you want the customized ones, you can follow that second link that I just provided to you there, Happy Donuts. Okay, now it's time to go to our golden D12 and discover which class our character will be rocking all the way to level 20. Number 10, a sorcerer. And which type of sorcerer? We rolled an even. We have a wild magic sorcerer.
Release the Yetis.
Oh. Well, release the Yetis indeed. Now, JT, did you want to add? Is that for the order that we talked about from last night? Or are you wanting to add Yetis into the order? Okay, I gotcha. I may still throw in a Yeti just as a thank you because you did get a big side order. And by the way, for all of you who do pick up a big side order of individual minis, I can cut you a break on individual shipping, and I usually throw in a figure or two that are thematic for what you're trying to do or something you've expressed an interest in. So you might end up with a Yeti in your box there, JT. Okay, got it. It's for last night's order? So we're squared up, and I'll get that in the mail on Monday to you. And I'll make sure that I throw in a couple thank yous in your box. So enjoy whatever ends up in there. A Mountain Dwarf Sorcerer, Wild Magic. Boy howdy, yeehaw. But thank you very much for that, JT. I appreciate your support, and I'm sure the orphanage appreciates you adopting so many minis. By the way, JT, after boxes that were popped earlier tonight, I have 4 boxes of Dragon Heist left before I need to get a restock. You'll have to have some like epic like skiing village versus the mountainside combat, I guess, JT. All right, now let's develop her physically. Okay, we have a very basic outline for who she is. Now let's start making her a little bit more three-dimensional. Mountain dwarfs start at 4 feet tall. We're going to add 2d4 inches to her height. So she's 4'7". She is a short stack. And then we're going to multiply 7 times our result from 2d6. So we're going to add 70 pounds. So she's 4'7" and 200 pounds. So she's a thick short stack. Then lastly, we're going to roll on the age chart with a percentile. At 11, she is a young adult for a dwarf. And that means for a dwarf, there's column 2, we come over. You're between 51 and 100. So let's roll a 50-sided die. All right, we are 58 years old. A very spry 58 at that. And again, so this prompts us to ask, she's only 58 and she's reached level 20. What has happened? Is this from the magic flowing through her body? Is she really accomplished in some way? What is occurring? Because how this character would be different in some big ways if everything else were the same, but let's say that she was 300 years old. But now we're looking at her at a scant 58. Yep, Daily, she is thick. For sure. 2 C's. Nadpoo, have you seen the show Arrow? Or are you familiar with the Green Arrow? Which D&D class would you say most resembles him? Fighter, Rogue, or Ranger? All of those can work in their own way, Nadpoo. I'm not saying that as a get out of answering. They can all do very similar things. It could be that. Maybe she's, that's all she's known is battle and conflict and combat. Yeah, could have fallen into some extra dimensional space. Some sort of like hyperbolic time chamber. Okay, let's drop this down. We have our random number generation. Now we've cast our bones into the augury dish. Now let's read them. Okay, we rolled Hermit, and that is where we're going to begin. Here we go. We're going to have skill proficiencies in medicine and religion. And by the way, keep that in mind too. She was a hermit of a certain variety we'll determine. And that might be able to help answer some questions as well. Medicine and religion. Tool proficiencies. Herbalism kit. And language is one of our choice, so we get Common, Dwarven, and one other. And by the way, we might only be 4'7", but we are a medium-sized creature. Right, our starting equipment is going to be a scroll case with notes. This is excellent roleplay prompt. Talk about this with your DM if you roll up a hermit. A winter blanket, which is kind of your backpack, really. We get a set of common clothes. An herbalism kit. And 5 gold pieces to just store wherever. What if she had a trip to the Far Realm and had to fight through some kind of time warp, so she spent a few years in that place? Yeah, that's a good possibility as well, XCat. Maybe every time she nearly dies, she gets exceptionally stronger. That could be it too. A staff? What do you mean, Roxy? Alright, the life of seclusion we rolled for her was option number 6. We come up here, and that is... I needed to commune. Actually, I guess I'll just have to keep this number 6. That's a big sentence here. I needed to commune with nature far from civilization. So if you all like the idea that she traveled someplace supernatural, this could have been perhaps to the Feywild. Maybe it could still even be the Far Realm or some other place like that as well. It kind of sounds like, oh, pardon me, I'm sorry. It kind of sounds like Rydia from Final Fantasy IV, doesn't it? Kind of getting that vibe. Alright, and actually, look at this. Her background feature from a hermit is discovery. The quiet seclusion of your extended hermitage gave you access to a unique and powerful discovery. By the way, this is a direct, like, intravenous injection of your character into the plot of what's happening at your tabletop. The exact nature of this revelation depends on the nature of your seclusion. It might be a great truth about the cosmos, the deities, the powerful beings of the outer planes, or the forces of nature. It could be a sight that no one else has ever seen. You might have uncovered a fact that has been long forgotten, or unearthed some relic of the past that could solve a mystery or rewrite history. Hermit tales, woohoo! It might be information that would be damaging to the people who, or consigned you to, exile, and hence the reason for your return to society. Work with your DM to determine the nature. So you know what? I think your ideas are going to work really well, because this can tie into her discovery. Basically, she was living off the grid. I like that, boy howdy. XCat, that could be the case too. In our character creation, I'm definitely open-minded to this. Personally, I don't use extra planes in my campaigns. Extra planes, extra dimensional spaces, phooey. I'll be Uncle Scrooge when it comes to that. as we have our DuckTales going on. All right. Our personality, number 5 and 7. 5 reads, I'm oblivious to etiquette and social expectations. So, she might have, phenomenal cosmic power, but if she's at a formal ball, among nobles, they're all dancing and whatever, and she wants to go and like, oh, hey, there's appetizers. Not only will she sort of crop dust her way across the ballroom without blinking an eye, she'll just walk up and just take stuff off the tray because, what does she know? She doesn't know any better. She might have been missing for all this time. Boy howdy, nope. No extra planes, no pocket dimensions, so no bags of holding, nothing like that. Or yeah, or it could have just been also something froze her in time, so she's actually like 700 years old, but she's just physically not older. Or, magic. I don't have to explain anything. Yep, JT. Well, look, I'm oblivious to etiquette and social expectations. So if you gotta do it, then just that's what she's used to. She's never had to apologize to anyone about that. Oh, I gotcha, Yeehaw. You found a dwarf samurai, and Mini Donuts found her ninja elf figures. Ordered them. Fingers crossed to get them before adventure. Oh yeah, very cool. And I do hope you get them before you get to play with those characters too, Donuts. And number 7 here. I often get lost in my own thoughts and contemplation, becoming oblivious to my surroundings. So once more, she starts thinking about something deep, or like her eyes just sort of, wander as she's pondering morality, philosophy, she's connecting something to her discovery, and maybe she mumbles out loud, or again, maybe she just, burps, farts, and cusses as she's sort of, babbling, burbling to herself, or drooling, or something along those lines. Maybe beans are the magical fruit, and it gave her everlasting youth and strength at the expense of gaseous emissions. Her ideal is one, a greater good. My gifts are meant to be shared with all, not used for my own benefit. Boy, this does not help the farting analogies. Her bonds are one. Nothing is more important than the other members of my hermitage, order, or association. And lastly, her flaw is 2. I harbor dark, bloodthirsty thoughts that my isolation and meditation failed to quell. She might have picked up a touch of madness up here as she was otherwise trying to unlock secrets and learn things. Oh no, I'm fine. Believe me that I with the other aspects, with the other aspects, we made the joke, and I got you on that. So in this, whatever she was studying, right? Or again, if she suffered some kind of time compression, or she went through some sort of an accelerated learning, it empowered her, right? She's a sorcerer. She's an X-Man. She's a mutant, right? She has this phenomenal cosmic power. But she needed a little bit more than just itty-bitty thinking space. And something in her brain broke. Where she's harboring these dark thoughts. She's hearing these whispers. Maybe she made contact. You know, so she's not a warlock. But maybe she still made contact with a great old one of some kind. Or an archfiend or an archfey. If we want to say that she went to the Feywild. And so maybe she resisted joining this entity as a warlock with the archfey or whatever as the patron. But to get out of that situation, it might have caused a little bit of a wrinkle in her brain that wasn't supposed to be there otherwise. One of those background things mentioned an artifact. What if something that lets her see pathways between worlds that are just randomly around the place, and she keeps staring off into space looking at these extra dimensions? So that could explain her learning, her demeanor, her isolation. I agree, XCat. She probably does talk to herself, Roxy. Cosmic power for blooming madness? Seems like a fair trade. Hey, Lucian Star, welcome. XCat, I like the idea that she's been to multiple planes, and the reason she hears so many voices is all the creatures trying to talk to her. It could be in the background. Lucian, wouldn't she need true sight? This is all character concept, maybes and what ifs. What would have had to have happened in someone's life to bring someone to the point that we have now randomly generated? And so it's theory crafting. It's really opened up to, she has priorities elsewhere that are outside herself, or even perhaps even her native plane, and certainly beyond her own people. With the exception of those who have taken whatever this test or path is. How many times do we start a phrase like this? In my campaign world. In my campaign world, something like this exists. Where someone studies what are called the 10 paths. And think of it more like an Eastern monk in Hermitage, where you study philosophy, where you study philosophy and you meditate, and once you've traveled all 10 paths, in this seclusion, in this meditation, over the course of time that it has taken to study and meditate, you have turned yourself into a beholder. And in my campaign world, that's how beholders exist. And in fact, there's only ever one at a time. It's a possibility, XCat. I mean, you're throwing out a lot of ideas, and I'm not saying that they're bad, but I mean, we could throw what ifs forever. Well, and there's a lot of content, so let's continue to flesh her out and talk about her, and then we can see what might work, what might fit the best. That's true, XCat. You did make an item that can do something like that. An elder worm that got amnesia walking as immortal. Oh, that's a cool one too, Lucian. Then you will not become the Poe. And in fact, you'll be the understudy to the current Poe, because you cannot complete the 10th pass, or the 10th path, until it's your time to actually ascend to become the Poe. Hey, bro, Plier, welcome. Oh, it sounds like you had a very combat-heavy session. I hope you had a lot of fun. There is, and that's how it exists. That's how it exists in the world. In this noggin, JT. All right, so we have done a lot. XCat, you've thrown out some awesome ideas. Lucian Star, yeah, you had that good submission there, and we've talked a lot about this, and we have a solid character concept, right? Her gifts are meant to be shared with all, so she went on this journey to find information. She received it. It probably broke her a little bit, which could even have led to her wild magic as a sorcerer. There are other members of this hermitage who have taken this path. And somewhere along the line, something broke in her brain. And has to fight against this literal or metaphorical demon inside of her, where she's harboring these bloodthirsty thoughts. And maybe that's what's pulling her. She would have been chaotic good otherwise in her expression, right? She wants to share. She was willing to sacrifice her sanity and her body to go and retrieve information for this, to answer this discovery in order to save the world or to save whatever. And when she came back, all of a sudden, she has other thoughts she's not had before. And that's taking her to darker places. And that's pulling her from a chaotic good perch into a chaotic neutral one, because these evil ideas keep bubbling up and she has to fight against them. And so the neutrality comes in that she's looking after herself, because she knows that if she can control herself, the world will be better off. So it is altruistic, selfish, selfish desires. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but I hope you're getting the thought process that I'm throwing out there. That would be an excellent campaign prompt, XCat. I think you could have a lot of fun developing something along those lines. Boy, howdy, yeehaw. Have an awesome night. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight and talking and having fun and being around for us popping boxes of minis. It was a pleasure to have you, and I hope to see you again tomorrow evening. Lucian, that is also a viable possibility. Okay, now we have her background set, and we have an idea for what's going on up in her noggin. Let's go back to her dwarven heritage and discover what this is going to offer her. Con increases by 2. Our speed is 25 feet, giving us 12 climb, 12 swim, and 0 fly. We do have 60 feet of dark vision. We have resistance on saving throws against poison, and we have resistance against poison damage. So under IRV for immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities, I'm going to click the middle one for poison. And we have advantages versus poison. Saving throws. Dwarven combat training. So we have proficiency in the battle axe, hand axe, throwing hammer, and warhammer. We gain proficiency with the artisan's tools of your choice. Smith's tools, brewer's supplies, and mason's tools. You can always prompt your DM to say, hey, can I choose a different artisan set? But if we're sticking with what we have here, if she was a hermit living out in the wilds, she was probably used to brewing stuff up. So let's give her herbalism kit. Actually, it'll kind of combo with an herbalism kit. Herbalism kit and brewer's tools. Actually, they did combo really well in our Oktoberfest week where we were talking about brewing. We're also going to get stone cunning. And then as a mountain dwarf, our strength score increases by 2. And we have proficiency with light and medium armor. What's nice as a caster is if our hands are still free for somatic components, we can wear armor in which we're proficient and still cast spells. Did we pop? Yeah, we popped a lot of good stuff, JT. Another copper dragon, a silver dragon, shield guardian, some Pegasus. We had a twofer in one of our dragon Tyranny of Dragon boxes that had a bronze dragon and a green dragon in the same box. There was a ton of stuff that was opened up tonight, JT. Oh, Civil got to it there, X-Cat. All right. Lastly, but not leastly, we have to apply 20 levels of Sorcerer. It's not going to take that long. If you're making characters in most any RPG, but especially in 5th edition, you might spend a half hour making a level 1 character. Every other level after that is like 5 minutes at most. It's not that difficult. Especially if you already have a concept in mind for what you want to do. Let's go to classes and sorcerer. Bada boom, the world is ours. We are maximum epic level. We can take from that a lot of things, actually. Our proficiency bonus is a +6. We are going to have sorcery points, and we're going to have 20 of them that we can use to manipulate our spells. We are going to know 6 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll end up knowing 15 spells, and then we get our full slots here of 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. It takes all session. Oh, are they just trying to like counterbalance against each other or whatever, JT? Hey, D&D time, welcome. I hope that your games went very well tonight. I was able to watch the first one that you ran tonight, but unfortunately, to get ready for our stream, I had to bail out on the second and third ones. All right, so we have 20 D6 hit dice because we're 20th level, and sorcerers get D6 hit dice. We get no armor proficiencies, but that's fine. We got them through being a mountain dwarf. Weapon proficiencies, daggers, darts, slings. If you want to list them all, you can. Or, you know, because that would go in addition to weapons here. We could just put Dwarven and Sorcerer if you want a quick, you know, access back. No tool proficiencies. Constitution and Charisma are our saving throws, proficiencies with them. Skills, choose 2 from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. Well, let's see. considering everything that we think that she was exposed to, that granted her information and made her just sort of like, we kind of cracked her brain a little bit. I would imagine Arcana, if she's doing this to try and talk to people about her discovery, probably Persuasion and Arcana. Let me double check her personality traits just to make sure, though. Oblivious to etiquette. Okay, so I mean, Persuasion, that won't be affected. Often get lost in my own thoughts. Okay, that works. Gifts are meant to be shared. Oh, that backs that up. Nothing's more important than the other members of my hermitage, and I harbor dark, bloodthirsty thoughts. Unless we wanted to change Persuasion to Intimidation, that could be interesting. But still, we have our 4 skills, 2 from a background and 2 from a class. You know, and we can go and change it. If you want to offer something else over in chat, you know you're welcome to do so. XCat says Arcana and Religion. Since she's had so much first-hand experience with them. Arcana. We already have Religion from our background. So that's already taken care of, XCat. When creating new characters, asks Astreus, do you tend to do them at level 1 or level 20 to see where you might want to go with it? When creating new characters, do you tend to generate them at level 1 or 20 to see where you might go? When I do it, I get an initial concept. If we're starting at 1 and going to 20, I started at 1. Every level, I just decide. I don't plan it out because I don't know what's going to happen over the course of a game. Because that could completely alter my character's outlook on the world. And so I would have just sort of spent a lot of time generating a 20th level character that may not necessarily get to happen because of the circumstances it took for me to get from 1 to 20. XCat, I like that. So she is actually trying to persuade people, but it comes out as intimidation because she does have this aggressive spark in the back of her mind. I like that. Kudos to you, XCat. And Civil, thank you for continuing to offer that advice. Now, at level 20, I'm not worried about her starting package, because by then, she's probably not going to have the same weapons. I mean, maybe she will, but I'm not too worried about, are we going to give her a light crossbow? Maybe. Maybe not. She's level 20 and she casts magic out of everything. I think that it's going to be irrelevant. Or if she's going to have a crossbow, it's probably going to be a magical crossbow of some kind. So I'm not going to worry about that. I think at level 20, we're beyond daggers and daggers and crossbows. So we're going to get meta magic. We're going to get 4 meta magic abilities because we're level 20. We get 2 at the beginning, and then 1 at 10th and 1 at 17th. And then lastly, at level 20, we're going to get Sorceress Restoration. At 20th level, you regain 4 expended sorcery points whenever you finish a short rest. It's pretty good. You can keep juggling your spells very expertly that way. Well, JT, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but good guy Maddie, the mask has got to come off. I duped you into this. No mundane weapons for our epic level character. Let's see. What would kind of a crackpot like this take as meta magic? She probably wouldn't take Careful Spell because of those whispers in the back of her noggin. No, you really no, they should be able to weather your fire. I think Heighten Spell would come in handy. Right? If you exert yourself, you're intimidating, you want to force a disadvantage on a save, I think that could be really good. Let's see. With the way that she thinks. Remember, I want this to be organic. I want this to come off of her personality. I get lost in my own thoughts and contemplation, becoming oblivious to my surroundings. That could end up being something like a subtle spell, right? She kind of murmurs. Like, she can cast without even needing to move or speak. I think that can work. Yeah, lots of mischief, X-Cat. Oh, okay. Interesting use, X-Cat. I think she has this dual nature to her. Like, she exists here and there. She sees, you know, in what I think a twin spell would be interesting. And lastly, if she needs to act in a pinch, I almost want to say Quicken spell. But then again, Distance spell I think is calling to me. Because we're talking about travel and distance in a lot of this. I think Distance spell. Yeah, because you would otherwise have the abilities of a squirrel. But if your DM allowed it and it made for a good story, that's how you play D&D. All right, Wild Magic. We get Wild Magic Surge. Tides of Chouse. Bend Luck. Which, a lot of these abilities are just to manage your own powers. Controlled Chouse. Spell Bombardment. Okay, so if you choose it at first level, your spellcasting can unleash surges of untamed magic. After you cast a sorcerer spell of first level or higher, your DM can have you roll a 20. And if you roll a 1, something wacky happens. Tides of Chaos, you can manipulate the forces of chance and chaos to gain advantage on one attack roll, etc. Bend Luck, starting at 6th level, you have the ability to twist fate using your wild magic. When another creature you can see makes an attack roll, make an ability check or a saving throw. You can use your reaction and spend 2 sorcery points or roll 1d4 and apply the number rolled as a bonus or penalty, your choice, to the creature's roll. Controlled Chaos, with you gain a modicum of control over the surges of your wild magic. Whenever you roll on the wild magic surge table, you can roll twice and use either number. And Spell Bombardment. The harmful energy of your spells intensifies. When you roll damage for a spell and roll the highest number possible on any of the dice, choose one of the dice, roll it again, and add that roll to the damage. You can use that feature only once per turn. And, of course, our handy-dandy wild magic guide here. So we have now built the chassis of our character. Aside from picking out the spells, we can drop in her stats. But before we do, I think we should give her the feat, because that will impact her stats for sure. And there we go. It's also still a part of building who she is. So instead of being dedicated to just advancing herself in a statistical direction, she picked up a particular feat somewhere. So let's see. This would be something that would be. Alert would be interesting, right? Her mind is always worrying and working. Alert could be a good one for her. Maybe Elemental Adept if she's really feeling like she wants to focus on a particular damage type. Ooh, what would be very interesting is to take heavily armored. Now we're casting in heavy armor. That could be very cool. You know, she doesn't have really a weapon, and she doesn't have a shield, but she just kind of clomps around in heavy armor. That would be very interesting. It could be even like patchwork from all the places that she's been. So she just keeps adding to her armor from everywhere she's been. And this has given her effectively heavy armor training. Alert would be fun to use with the voices in her head. They just scream, "Watch out." Hey, yeah. Hey, Bunny Love, welcome. It's good to see you back again. I mean, linguist could work as well, right? You learn a bunch of languages from all your travels. That could work out. Lucky is such a good feat that I don't want to give it to a character because it's just... It's so good it's generic. She could dip into some other magic. Medium Armor Master could be interesting as well. I really don't see her as something that would be needing Warcaster. I don't think she's really a frontliner. Yeah, Elemental Adept, Roxy. That was something that that was something that we brought up. If she wants to specialize in a damage type, I heard that as Lucky is too easy and generic. If you're going to play this character, I need you to get good. I'm not opposed to Lucky as a feat, but if we're going to be building compelling characters, unless something is really saying this is a Lucky character, I don't want to put lucky on the character because it's just generically good. Why wouldn't you have lucky and get a bunch of rerolls? Oh, Happy, you didn't tell us you're going to In and Out. Were you taking orders? Ritual caster could represent magic, she frantically writes down. And you know what? Because she's a sorcerer, remember this. Not all magic casters get ritual casting. Warlocks and sorcerers do not get it. Paladins and rangers do not get it. And neither do... Well, I should say 2 out of the 3 warlocks don't. Or can't, or... Well, you get what I'm saying. There's a feat for it, but... Ritual caster could work, though. Actor on your stream character, because yeah, actor can make for a lot of fun opportunities as well daily. If you're here, we'd have you covered. Oh, well, thank you for the consideration, Donuts. When you choose this feat, you acquire a ritual book holding 2 first-level spells of your choice. Choose one of the following classes: Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard. You must choose your spells from that class's spell list. And the spells you choose must have the ritual tag. The class you choose also determines your spellcasting ability for the spells. Alright, so we're going to get 2 with the possibility. So, like, we're quasi-wizards, is what this does. So, Ritual Caster is going to give us these guaranteed ones, and then we just have to pretend over 20 levels what other rituals did she pick up. But for sure, she can do these. You know, and then we can do, like, Bard or something. We can do, like, one Sorcerer, 1 Bard or something. I need a book. It's hard to read on a phone. Oh, yeah, I try to keep this as big as possible, Roxy, but I understand for a lot of you on mobile, it can be difficult. So I appreciate you still trying along. Okay, so we don't get a stat bump, which means, using our standard array here, she's definitely going to be a charisma prodigy. If she can endure this, like, her mind may have broken, but maybe her body didn't. 13... 12, 10, 8. That's going to bump con to a 15. And strength to a 12. And then we're going to get 4 other ASIs because our feat took up our 5th one that we would normally get. So we can go... Now we're down to 3. 2. 1. And... 0. I think that'll make sense for her. High intelligence, low wisdom. Kind of a kooky person. Alright, that's going to give us 1 strength, 1 dex, 3 con, 3 int, -1 wisdom. And that -1 wisdom, by the way, is very good for not being able to perceive what's going on around you, including insight for social etiquette. And charisma is a 5. 1 and 1. 1's down the line in Dex. Con is going to be a 9. 3 for the non-proficient intelligences, and 9 for those that are. 5 for medicine, and then we're just going to cough, cough. Get this -1 in the other slots. Then 11 for our saving throw and intimidation, and then 5 for the other skills. Initiative is going to be a +1 because that's a Dex check. Armor class, well, that'll depend on what we're wearing, but again, we're jetting a level 20 character. You could have magic armor. I mean, if we just wear leather, it'll be 12. If we memorize mage armor, it'll be 14. So I don't want to fill that in, but just keep that in mind as we're going through those exercises. If we're attacking with a spell, we're going to have a +11 to hit, therefore making our DC to ignore or resist the effects at a 19. Our DC is a 19. There's our spell slots, and we know that we're going to take 6 different cantrips. We have a passive perception of 9, right? 10 plus your perception modifier. In this case, it's -1. Current hit points. Maximum of the 6 on 6 on your first level. Then we have the rest of the 19 levels times 4, which is half +1 of your hit dice. Then for all 20 levels, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier, which is 3. So here's our equation. We have 60, and then that would have been, that's going to be 76. So this is going to be 82. This is going to be 142. Not too shabby on the hit point front for a sorcerer, huh? You could be up in the mix if you really needed, to take some hits or something. Or if combat ensues and you're in the middle of camp trying to cast, that is going to help you endure. We're no longer a pile of stats, so this character can use a name if something is bubbling up for what you'd like to call her. Spellcasting is Charisma. Sorcerer. 19 plus 11. Sorc points were 20 at level 20. And we've used 0. Hey, welcome back. It's good to see you again, Hellsfang. My friends and I are wanting to play using Tabletop Simulator and need a way to create characters. Could you help? I have some experience with Roll20, but I don't know which Tabletop Simulator you're wanting to set up. Because Hellsfang, you've been here before, haven't you? Your name seems familiar. I think that you have been, and so welcome back. So Hellsfang, I won't be the best person to ask about Roll20, as I do play on it, but I don't have a ton of experience with it. So what I would encourage you to do, if you go over to our Discord, we have a mentor network, and one of the roles specifically, like if you come down to our project workshop here, and you go at VTT Or I guess, what, roll 20, I should say. Yeah, there we go. Roll 20 Guide is a group of mentors that can provide specific advice to you. So if you hop in our project workshop, people who interact with that tabletop simulator more often and more in depth than I are going to be able to help you and give you more advice than what I personally could. You can always call her Dagmar. Sure. What's Dagmar from? Which roles do you want, Daily? Dagmar Overby is a famous female serial killer. Shared voice. Sure. So I mean, you could even swap it up a little bit then if you really wanted to, and something like Dagby Overmar. Yep, draw inspiration from real life. Alright, so we're going to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1 for our spell slots. Now our spells known, if you come down here, I like labeling where we're getting our spells from and when we're getting them. It helps us keep things in line, especially if you end up shifting spells back and forth through your slots. So with this, spells known is 2, so we would go level 1. And there we go. Then we go to level 2, and you see our spells known go to 3, but we can't cast anything above that. So we come down here, and then at level 2, we get this one. And then you'll see we go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you'll see by this point, we've gotten 1 per level, so we're still safe here. Now, at level 11, we do go up to 12 spells known. And it's still within, and it's within 6th level. But when we look at level 12, we still only know 12 spells. So we get a new one at 13. So then we're at level 15 and 17. Actually, wait, when did we get 6th? Yeah, so that was at 11. So actually, I'm sorry, it should be like 11. If we're spacing them out normally, you can modify where your spells... At level 13, you can take a level 1 spell if you want instead. (13, 15, and then 17 is when we get our epic 9th level spell. Bada boom. Oh, for Tabletop Simulator. Oh, yeah, because there is software for that specifically. Ooh, okay, that software is definitely over my head. If Pneumonica was still around, Pneumonica plays on Tabletop Simulator almost exclusively, and Imagination Studio also plays D&D on Tabletop Simulator. So you might be able to try contacting them as well. I do not see either of them on at the moment, though. Well, I see Pneumonica, but Pneumonica might be sleeping or otherwise busy. Oh, hey, Pneumonica. Oh, there you speak of the devil, and he shall arrive, right? So Hell's Fang, Pneumonica does play on Tabletop Simulator. Maybe Pneumonica can give you some help. With a character like this, the spells you learn, because they're an intrinsic part of you, would be following the course of your adventure, right? What have you done? Why would you have learned how to cast a fireball? Are you just naturally are you naturally a firebug and you're just taking all fire spells? Were you traveling in a volcano and a wild magic surge, gave you that ability, gave you that spell? There's a lot of different things you can do. So please consider that, right? For a wizard, your spell book is a diary of the places you've been to, and the people you've talked to, and the spells you've learned. For a sorcerer, it's like a roadmap of your personal evolution, and it can say a lot about your character, about which spells you've taken at what level. So for purposes of tonight, I don't want to sit down. I mean, we could make a generic spell list for the character, but I would rather keep that open, especially because these PDFs are going to be available on our Discord at the end of the week. And so if you like this character, I would rather let you have the flexibility to determine which spells you would give her and enjoy. If you'd like to, XCat, I just, because it's already 3 a.m., I don't want to go through her entire spell list, personally. And by the way, for those of you who are giving out advice to Hellsfang, thank you very much for doing so. That's what makes you all awesome. I'm a dude in a chair who kind of coordinates things and is a medium. You are really the heroes here. So cheers to you. Is Hellsfang still here? Hey, Technotron. Is Hellsfang still here? I'm seeing Hellsfang on our list. Gate, Meteor Swarm, Power Word Kill, Time Stop, and Wish. Offhand, I want to say Gate would be the one that she'd choose. You conjure a portal linking an unoccupied space you can see within range to a precise location on a different plane of existence. I think this is what she would end up taking then. I think this is really what was being discussed in her character creation. I think Gate would be a good fit for her level 9 spell. So, well then, everyone. Hopefully so, Fluffy.